Okay, so once again, we see a pastor embarrassing, humiliating, and disrespecting a woman in his church because she did not give or did not present the correct, quote, correct amount of money that this pastor was asking for. In this two-part series, I am going to discuss 4 ways that religion continues to use humiliation, embarrassment, and disrespect to negatively influence your money as a Black woman. All right, let's just dive right in. So, if you're not familiar with this video, the dude's name, the pastor's name is Marvin Winans, okay? There's clips of the videos floating all over the place, all right? So before you comment and ask me if I watched the entire video, no, I didn't because I don't need to, all right? So for me, the discourse surrounding this video is surprising and yet not surprising at the same time. All right. So I'm going to be in both parts of this just a 2-part series that I'm doing. So in both parts, I'm going to be referencing periodically this video of this pastor and his terrible behavior. Okay. To show how religion caused Black women to forget their financial autonomy, their financial wealth, and financial power. All right. So I already talked about, the video. So if you'd like to go and find it, go to TikTok, is there. All right. So this woman, this Black woman, and not to mention, she approaches this pastor with the quote incorrect amount of money with her child. All right. So talking about her child, that's for a totally different episode. Okay. But this woman is standing up in front of the church. All right. And there are people, including Black women, who they're justifying this pastor's behavior by saying things like, well, the woman didn't follow instructions. Or even heard some people say, well, this woman, she was in the wrong line. So apparently, depending on the amount of money that you had in your hand, you were told to stand in a certain line, in a particular line, which is a form of humiliation. That is a humiliation ritual in itself. All right. I've also seen people justify this pastor's actions by saying things like, well, it's not uncommon for churches to have additional offerings. It's not uncommon for churches to have these special offerings. Why do churches need additional offerings? That is an issue in itself, and the fact that it has been normalized is even worse. I am talking about this because I saw spectacles like this so frequently in my religious experience. It became the norm. So I'm very well qualified to speak on this. All right. So I can remember when I was really young, there was, a pastor, one of the churches that we were going to, a pastor was telling people to come and just throw money at the altar. And most of the time when people did that, it was the women in the church. Black women in the church. Okay. Just throw money at the altar. So all these people were coming by and they were running to the altar, and the altar, it was a place in the church that was labeled as altar. So people were coming by, throwing their money down. Well, this particular woman, she didn't have any money. So what she threw down on this quote altar, it was a notebook. And in that notebook was her intention to have money. It symbolized for her the money that she wanted to have. So this pastor decided that that notebook was not good enough. So he pushes it with so much force that if she wasn't standing there to catch it, it would have fell on the floor. So I remember that moment. I'm thinking, how embarrassing it must have been for that lady. All right. How embarrassing it must have been for her. She had the intention. She wanted to be able to have the money, but she didn't. So that notebook symbolized her best at the moment. And then I can remember another example. Now, this particular example doesn't have anything to do with money directly, but indirectly it does, because we're talking about identity here. So when you were single, as a single woman, you are often put on display. Like art pieces are put on display to be sold at an auction. Right. A woman's singleness and her availability for marriage was often broadcasted in front of the entire church, in front of the entire congregation, in front of congregations. And I even went to a church at one point where it was a show, it was a TV show. Okay, it was broadcasted on TV. All right. And the pastor would do it in a way where it was to let the men know in the church that this particular woman, depending on what week it was, depending on what day it was, depending on which church service it was, that particular woman was available to be picked for marriage. All right. There's nothing dignified about that. Again, that is humiliation at its finest. Humiliation at its finest. Okay. Again, that example is not specific to money directly. However, indirectly it is. All right. And in these examples that I'm giving you, including the most recent one with this pastor condemning the woman for not bringing the right amount of money, in all of those cases, those women did not speak up for themselves. They remained silent. Okay. What made it, except for, let me say this, the most present or the most recent example, when the pastor told the woman, okay, that's not the right amount, blah, blah, blah. Then the woman says, well, I'm going to work on getting the rest of the money. That was all she said. But what made it okay for these acts of disrespect, humiliation, and embarrassment to be viewed as normal and to be justified in religion? I'm going to tell you. Let's talk about it. So, this imbalance, this chaoticness, this chaotic system that is the religious system that we see today is the result of bloodthirsty, power-hungry colonizers that lusted after and were greedy for the authority that rested in the hands and in the being and in the mind and in the bodies of your ancient Black mothers, your ancient melanated mothers. The colonizers burned down her mystery schools. They burned her books, stole her books, stole her prophecies, stole her images, and Europeanized them. Okay? So, what was the role? I've said this before, I'm going to say it again because it's a beautiful thing. What was the role of your ancient Black mothers? Our ancient Black mothers. Let me read this to you. They were the first primary cultural and spiritual authors of civilization in Africa and in the world. Your ancient Black mothers were the epitome of cosmic order. When that was disrupted because of bloodthirsty colonizers who lusted after control, it created a domino effect, which leads us to 2025. We could go through all the things that happened in between there, okay? But here we are, right? The foundation of religion was founded upon the humiliation and disrespect of the Black woman. So, what does this have to do with your money? Now that you have left that system, now that you are navigating your life after religion, what does that have to do with your money? So, let's look at how embarrassment, humiliation, and disrespect negatively influences your finances right now. Okay? So, I'm going to maybe go through one of them. There's 4 that I want to go through. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So we'll see what happens. We're at 12 minutes, 40 seconds. We'll see what happens. All right. So the first one that I want to cover is not feeling like you're enough. So if we go back to the most recent video, this Winans character video, you got this man telling this woman that her money is not good enough. And she responds with, well, I'm working on the rest. I'm working on the rest. What does this translate into? Because we're talking about identity here. This translates into who I am and what I've done isn't enough. So now I need to go do more shit to validate myself. She told herself, I have to keep doing and doing because my being of who I am right now, what I am expressing right now, is not adequate. Your energy, your money is your energy. Your money is your energy. So she's told herself that her energy that she is expressing right now is not adequate. You feeling like you're not enough, having the story, having the expression of not enoughness, it also puts a lid on your money flowing to you. This leads us into the consciousness of that says the only way to get money is to work hard for it. The only way to have it is to work hard for it. Instead of viewing money as the free-flowing energy in your life that it is. Money is designed to be listen to this, is designed to be an infinite, free flowing energy. Does energy have a lid? Can you keep energy contained? No, energy is free flowing. Not feeling like you're not enough will cause you to not even be cognizant of when more money is coming to you, because your energy translates into, because remember, when you're operating from you're not enough, if more money is trying to come to you, then your energy is going to say, okay, nope, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that more money because I'm not enough. I got to do more stuff over here to validate who I am. So no more money, you can't come in. That's what your energy is saying. That story will be very, very present in your energetic field. Now you may be listening to me saying, well, why would I turn away more money? Your energy is. Your identity is, because it is still entangled in that religious dogma of having to continually validate who you are and using external things to validate you. That is the fruit of the religious programming tree. Okay, so let's go to a second. So the first one is, I said I had 4 for you. First one, not feeling like you're enough. Second one, causing you to retreat and shrink. I'm going to repeat this question again. The way that embarrassment, humiliation influences your identity and it negatively influences your money is it causes you to retreat and shrink. What do I mean by that? Your expression is wealth. I'm going to repeat that. Your expression is wealth. Yes, wealth represents more than just money. We know that. Wealth is perfect health. Wealth is having a balance in your relationships. Wealth is freedom. You waking up every day and getting to choose what you want to do. That is wealth. Wealth is being surrounded by people who love you. That is wealth. In this case, I'm talking about wealth specific to money in all its forms. All right. Not just the money that we see, but money in all its forms, in all of its currencies. Okay. All different, currency. Okay. So when you shrink and retreat yourself from the world, when you hide yourself, when you even hide from your own being, you are not free. When you are bound, so is your expression. When you are bound, so is your energy. When you are bound, so are your finances. Because you have capped yourself, you've put a lid on yourself, you've capped your money, and you put a lid on your money. Do you see how this is all intertwined? I'm going to say this over and over again. This is about identity, and this is why it is so important to untangle yourself from religious dogma so you can unleash your power. And I'm going to leave the next 2 for the next part. But before we get to the next part, I want to read you this. And I'm reading from, this is page 113, and I'm reading from volume 1, Mami Wata, Unveiling Africa's Ancient Goddesses and Gods by Mama Zagbe, page 113. Listen to this. Since time immemorial, African women African women were the major controllers of local and international markets and the first to mint currency. Now I know that you've been told that currency was created by another group of people. But your Black ancient mothers were the first to create coins as a means of exchange. Doesn't that sound like some women? Women who were in their financial authority? Well, guess what? That is in your bloodline. You carry that in your cells. You carry the memory of financial authority in your cells. That is what you are activating. That is part of your activation when you are untangling yourself from religious dogma. This is what you are activating. Do you understand? All right. So we're going to continue on with part 2. Okay, so come back next time. Oh, if you're new here, subscribe. Hey. Thank you for being here. All right. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you know when I release the second part of this topic. All right. If you have not done this already, go download your complimentary PDF workbook on untangling from dogma so that you can unleash your power, and how to go about doing that. Okay, how to recognize where dogma is still playing out in your life and what to do about it, and how to, in a sense, create rituals for yourself every single day to continue detangling, so that the more you detangle, the more you pull that thread of religious dogma, the more where you can recognize the blind spots of where that dogma is still taking place in your life, the closer and closer you get to remembering your true identity. Go to unleashedalchemy.com. And until next time, be sovereign and be rich.